Hello, and welcome to Nerdscapades. I'm Matt.
I'm Jess. It's been a long time since we've made a video.
A little bit of a different location.
Yeah, we moved across the country, so that required
Time.
a solid month of misery and craziness.
Pretty much.
So anyways, a lot has happened in a month. And actually, we were kind of falling behind before that. So really, a lot has happened in like 2.5, 3 months. So we have a lot to catch up on. But first, I wanted to say thank you to the 120 people who have subscribed to our channel thus far. We feel so grateful and amazed. Realistically, that's not that fast of growth, but to us, any amount of subscribers was kind of amazing. So thank you so much for hitting that subscribe button. Oh my gosh, I can't talk. And giving us a chance.
Mm-hmm. It's really appreciated.
It is.
Yeah. We gotta do our best to not be as behind.
I mean,
Try.
I'm learning not to make promises. It's really hard.
So I said do our best.
Right. We can do our best, and our best may not be enough.
Yeah.
I don't know. There was a motorcycle outside.
Yay.
Fun fact, I used to ride motorcycles. I know you wouldn't be able to tell.
But, anywho, what are we doing today?
Besides listening to motorcycles rev their engines up and down the street, we are finally going into the, if you hear a baby.
You do.
You do hear
That's
a baby.
what you hear.
That is the creature you hear in the background, the mystical beast. That is mimicking motorcycles. But anyways, it has to happen in order for this video to occur. So, we're going back into the Silmarillion. The fourth, I'll get it right this time. It's the fourth section we've talked about. The fourth video in our series. But it is of Aule and Yavanna. It is part 2 of the Quinta, I don't know, Silmarillion, the actual thing. So, it's going to be a quick one. But pretty much what has happened in this section, I alluded to it before when we talked about Aule. So Aule is the craftsman. Do you remember that? Okay. If you are lost, go look at our previous videos. I have spoken about Aule and his creation of dwarves before, but this is kind of the section in the Silmarillion that dives into how that happened and why it happened. We learn essentially, again, spoilers, so go watch it, but we learn essentially that he gets bored waiting around for the children of Iluvatar to show up, and he says he just wants creatures there that will also appreciate Arda, will appreciate the world. So he creates the 7 dwarf kings that we then, we know about them later on. In the mountains, in the, underground and such. That's where they originate. And he gives them skills. I mean, it makes sense. He's Aule. He does the smithing and everything else himself. So, I mean, it does make sense. And Iluvatar finds out. Really, he knows the whole time. But once they are done being created, he comes forward and he's like, "What are you doing? Are you trying to be like me?" And basically, Aule is like, "No, I have immense respect for you. I was actually, if anything, trying to be more like you. I'm your son, right?" Like, he was like, "But I will smite these creatures if you want me to." And, right at the last minute, he's about to smote them, and the dwarves are like, "Ah!" And Iluvatar's like, "No, wait! They are allowed to live." So, he lets them live, and then he says, "But they cannot, I will not suffer them to be awake before my creations are awake." So they have to wait until the children of Iluvatar or men such and such come forth. So they basically have to sleep under the mountain for a while. but that's cool. And then Yavanna, Aule's wife, essentially Mother Nature, learns about the dwarves and the children of Iluvatar, and she's like, oh, they're going to basically ruin everything I've made.
Uh-oh.
Well, they're like, so my animals can defend themselves, she says, but my plants and things, what are they going to do? Especially the trees. Like, they grow, they take so long to grow, and they're just going to cut them down. So she goes and she talks to Manwë, respectfully, and she's like, respectfully, but disrespectfully, I'm not cool with this. And he's like, actually, this is in the vision that we saw, or what was revealed to us, sort of, but we just weren't aware of it, that there will be guardians of the trees.
Ooh.
That something that you make will actually turn into a creature as well, blah, blah, blah. It just kind of goes on. And that is, in fact, how we end up with Ents. I believe they come later, but they are coming. So, I mean, that's like a really, really dumbed down way of explaining how this happens. But essentially, Yavanna gets upset that her creation will suffer at the hands of everyone else's creation. Anyway, Yavanna makes the Ents, essentially, because she wants to protect her creation or give them a chance to stand up for themselves. And
Nice.
actually, this is part of the reason why Aule is my favorite male. As I was saying, this is part of the reason why Aule is one of my favorites, because Yavanna does this thing with Manwë and everything, and she comes back to Aule and she says, Eru is bountiful, she said. Now let thy children beware, for there shall walk power in the forests, whose wrath they will arouse at their peril. And Aule says, nonetheless, they will have need of wood. And he went on with his smith work. He's like, they're gonna need wood. I don't know, it made me laugh. So anyway, that is the fourth section of our series. Do you have any questions that I could answer? Not really.
So you said... So they've now created dwarves.
Yes.
They've now created dwarves. They're also waiting for the time of man.
Mm-hmm.
And she's creating Ents.
Mm-hmm.
When do the elves come in?
Okay, so the children of Iluvatar. This was my thought. I was like, well, they're all children of Iluvatar technically, but like elves and men, right? So my thought was like, that's weird. The dwarves come first. And yes, they technically came first, but they did not do anything until after elves and men. And then I guess from what I'm reading, elves and men are at the same time?
That sounds familiar, the time of elves and men.
Yeah.
That's kind of what they say.
Yeah, I just get confused because then there's a later age where it's like the time of men,
Mm-hmm.
but not elves. And so I get confused. But anyway, yes, that is a good question. That makes sense. So for those of you that are new here, if you are new here, don't forget to hit like and subscribe and the bell so you get notifications on when we do submit things. Oh my god.
Upload.
Thank you. When we do upload things.
Yeah.
Wrong way. Like you gotta go slightly less. There. Probably here, I think. Yeah. Thanks. Bye.